There are many reasons why one would become a Sith Lord. The most popular avenue to the dark side is that of revenge, but equally as popular are those who desire power. In other cases though, one may follow the path to the dark side simply because they are insane and greatly enjoy causing as much suffering as possible. Such psychopaths are usually seen as barbaric even among Sith. Many Sith believe that this hinders the greater empire and desire to achieve something instead of indulging in butchery and murder. But there was one Sith psycho that enjoyed his cruelty so much that he deviated from the traditional path of a Sith just so he could do more of it. This was Darth Momin, a canon Sith Lord who, instead of focusing his time and energy on destruction, chose to become a Sith artist bent on creation instead. But what he created were vile disturbances in the Force. Darth Momin made things that should have never seen the light of day. And in today's holocron, we are going to be talking about all of his life and his legacy, from the moment that he began his training as a Dark Lord, to the day that his spirit made his final mistake by crossing Darth Vader. Welcome back to the archives, my friends, and let us begin. Darth Vader 2017 number 21 is where Momin makes his first appearance. Momin was a name that was expunged from most records. The day Sidious gifted the mask of Momin to his apprentice Vader, he mentioned that he had never so much as heard the name of Momin in any holocron, Jedi, or Sith. Sidious said that Momin was an uncommon Sith Lord, not only for his penchant for creation rather than destruction, but because the paths he walked through the dark side were deemed heretical, and this is why he was suppressed, even by the Sith. Chronologically in canon, Momin is actually one of the earliest Sith Lords, and his mask lay hidden in the Forbidden Jedi archives for centuries on end. Vader would later ask his master how he knew of Momin, and Darth Sidious's haunting answer was that the mask had spoken to him. Little did Vader know that the spooky sentence was a dark omen of what was to come when Vader took the mask with him to Mustafar, the place that Vader planned to build his castle. But now, we must travel back 1,000 years to see just who Darth Momin really was. In Darth Vader number 22, long ago, Momin was a humanoid of an unknown species who considered himself to be a sculptor. However, his sculptures were made of living creatures. As a child, his mother came into his room once to find that he has dissected the family cat with kitchen tools and had made it into a disgusting work of art. As he grew older, he would delve into even darker tendencies and would go on a killing spree, kidnapping individuals of his home world and butchering them before reassembling their bodies, entrails, and flesh into a horrific sculpture that he placed in the middle of his town. He didn't even attempt to hide himself, but stood in front of it to enjoy the reactions of all those that came across it. According to Momin, any sculpture that doesn't make the viewer feel something is not art at all. Pain and fear are the most basic emotions of any being, things they feel as soon as they are born. When these things are felt again, it brings all beings to their most fundamental selves and turns them back into animals. Momin believed that this is something that all people need to feel, to remind them of who they really are, and Momin desires to do this through his sculptures and his art. He was later arrested though, and taken to prison for his heinous crime, but his name would echo amongst the stars, and he would soon be found by a Dark Lady of the Sith named Lady Shah. After hearing of his exploits, Shah hunted Momin down and liberated him from prison, taking him officially as her apprentice. Under Lady Shah's tutelage, Momin would create his signature mask, pouring the dark side into it. Once he finished, he would use the tools to carve up and disfigure his own face in order to wear it, as he required it now. He would then go on to repurpose these exact tools into becoming his lightsaber, building 2 of them. Momin learned so much about the dark side that he felt completed by what Lady Shah had taught him, grateful. However, he fundamentally disagreed with the idea of a master and apprentice dynamic and label. Momin was not about to call himself a master, but he hated being labeled as an apprentice, stating that he was second to none, that all he lacked was knowledge, never power or insight. Shah attempted to punish him for this heresy, but he ended up murdering her in a duel, determined to finish his training through his own personal studies. As a result, Momin chose to never take an apprentice of his own, saying that there was too much to learn and not enough time to teach. During this period of time, by the way, there are multiple Sith Lords that exist in the galaxy, meaning that Momin was a dark sheep even among the Sith Order. Breaking away from their core beliefs, Momin embarked on a journey around the galaxy, studying the lore of the dark side in all of its aspects, and visiting many great and terrible sights. During this, Momin realized that he had been wasting his time creating work for ordinary beings who would never appreciate nor understand his art. Momin decided that the Force itself was the only true audience that was worth impressing, and he decided that if he could build something worthy of the grandeur of the dark side, that he may become worthy himself. What this means, though, is exactly uncertain, but he could be speaking of eternal life. Momin sought the dark side deeply for answers, looking for a direction to go and how to build his magnum opus. Momin needed to make sure this was something that could not be ignored or locked away. The Force chose him, and he chose a city. Using the resources he inherited from his master and desperate darkside acolytes, he developed two key weapons. The first was known as the Fermata Cage, and the second was a device he only referred to as the Great Engine. The Great Engine was powerful enough to burn cities to the ground, turning them to ash. But in order to be worthy of the Force, Momin's work of art had to be so much more than even this. The Fermata Cage was then activated, and it would be able to literally freeze time itself. Momin determined that he would only begin to destroy the city, letting the heat and the flames rise, but at the very moment the people realized their imminent doom, he would pour the Force into his engine, activating the cage, and to stop the flow of time. All of those minds reacting as one to pain and fear on a scale that the galaxy had never known. Frozen in time like insects in sap for anyone to see and behold forever. Momin decided that this would be an eternal shrine to the dark side, his masterpiece. All was well at first when he was at the controls, ready to bring his truthful art into being. But then the Jedi arrived. The acolytes were slain by the Jedi strike team after putting up a fight, and the presence of the light side of the Force interfered with Momin's concentration. The Dark Lord lost control of his massive engine, and as he was attempting to wield it, his body was consumed into the fires of his own creation. The dark side demanded more than death from Momin, so whether it was intentional or not, Momin's spirit was trapped inside of his mask, his physical body atomized out of existence. And although his project was a failure, he would go on to learn an important lesson about the dark side. It was a raging inferno that must always be fed, one that demanded a sacrifice, and that if you cannot feed it, then it will feed upon you. In present day, Vader had selected Mustafar to build his castle because he had found a Sith cave potent with the dark side. He intended to meditate upon the cave and discover a way to bring Padme back from death. While he never divulged his plan, Sidious knew of his intention and decided to give him the Mask of Momin as a gift, saying to use it for inspiration. Sidious knew the psychotic trapped spirit of Momin was in the mask, and he wanted to see what would happen, likely just for pure entertainment. While on Mustafar, the mask ended up possessing the assistant of the Imperial Architect that was building Vader's castle. Momin and the assistant's body killed the Imperial Architect and decided to work on a design for Vader's castle himself. When Vader heard the architect scream, he went to investigate, only to find her body and the assistant with the Mask of Momin working at her desk. Vader immediately killed the assistant, but saw the design of the castle that Momin had drawn up. Intrigued by it, Vader took the mask to the Darkside cave and demanded answers. Momin freely told Vader his entire life story, but when it was over, Vader realized that he had taken off his own helmet and was slowly putting on the Mask of Momin. Waking from this trance, he threw the mask at the wall, breaking the spell that the spirit had put over him. A very close call to be sure. While distrustful of the ancient Sith architect, Vader was still intrigued by the design that he had come up with. Later, Vader would be butchering a group of native Mustafarians who had joined forces and opposed the castle being constructed on their world. Vader would grab one, forcing him to wear the mask so that the spirit of Momin could possess a physical body in order to do his work. Inside the Darkside cave, Momin identifies the Sith location as being the Force Locus, which was a literal door, a pathway into the dark side. Momin then explains that the door was locked, and that the castle idea he came up with was meant to be the key, at least theoretically, to the dark side itself. Momin had seen into Vader's mind momentarily when he nearly put on his mask, so he knew the true reason why Vader needed this door unlocked. He promised that the castle will create essentially a tune of energy of the Locus, using the dark side of the Force to peer the veil of time between life and death. This could possibly be a door into the world between worlds, but this isn't necessarily shown to be true. Momin promises Vader, though, that he will see his beloved again. But Vader interrupts him with a force choke, telling him that he has been lied to about the dark side's ability to prevent death before. Vader warns Momin not to promise things that he can't provide, and that if Momin betrays him, that he will suffer. Momin promised at the time, though, that he only wanted to create perfection, and that this opportunity would be his masterpiece that he never got to complete in life. At this point, Momin is unable to fight back against Vader because he is technically only a mask. The Force is denied to him while he's possessing non-Force sensitive bodies, and because of this, he and Vader work together to tune the structure. Using Imperial resources, the construction of Vader's castle officially begins. However, this would prove to be no easy process. The first 5 designs completely failed. Each time Vader attempted to open the gateway, Mustafar's weather would go out of control due to the energies of the dark side. The native Mustafarians were beginning to grow agitated, as they sensed that their planet would rip itself apart if something was not done. Vader was infuriated following the 5th failure, and he killed the host body of Momin. He then shoved the mask on a nearby stormtrooper to try again. The very beasts and natives of Mustafar were conspiring to stop the Imperials for continuing to build this monstrous castle, this monstrous key, as they repeatedly attacked the worksite. Meanwhile, Vader and Momin continued to try out new designs. In the end, it would take 9 total castle designs, with each one being destroyed in various ways. Each time they failed, Vader would kill Momin's body and put the helmet on another to continue his work. By the 9th design, we get the castle that we all know, and Vader warned Momin that one way or another, there would be no 10th. The 9th castle was a smashing success, and Vader managed to successfully open the door to the Force, tearing the veil between time and space. However, as soon as he managed this, his commander rang him over to the comm, informing the Dark Lord of a vast Mustafarian attack force. The entire army of natives had come to tear down the castle brick by brick. The angered Vader went out to deal with the issue, but once he left, Momin finally executed his plan. Vader had opened the way, and Momin used the portal to bring back his own living body. His real form, donning his mask, Darth Momin had returned from death itself. Once outside the castle, Vader saw it activated and knew at once that Momin had betrayed him. And now, we enter Darth Vader 24. Unfortunately, he didn't have the time to worry about Momin. He needed to break the Mustafarians. Vader and the Imperials went to war, and the Dark Lord cut down a great swath of the natives. But their elders, who could use the Force themselves, were connected with the planet. Seeing his power, they fell back on dramatic measures to stop the Dark Lord. Combining their power as one, they lifted the lava lake and caused a massive flood to consume the armies of the Empire, and even Vader. Somehow the Dark Lord kept himself from burning by using the Force as a shield and escaping the magma flood, leaping off the head of an AT-AT walker. However, Vader's armor was put into maximum heat-resistant limits, and he emerged quite injured. Retreating back within his fortress, Vader collapsed on the stone which had opened the portal, only to now be greeted by the living body of Momin. Vader reminded him of the warning of his betrayal, but Momin pointed out that Vader himself looked quite worse for wear, while Momin had been reborn. He admitted earlier that he wasn't nearly as strong as Vader, but he now had the advantage since the Dark Lord was injured. The two entered a duel, with Momin berating him about his beliefs. Momin made fun of Vader for still believing that he was the chosen one, for thinking that he commanded the dark side even though he couldn't stop his wife from dying, nor give himself a new body. Momin then preached his heretical ideas, saying that the Sith cannot control the dark side, that they must always serve it, and when it was served, that it granted them power and even eternal life. The whole time he drives Vader back and even manages to sever his right cybernetic arm, disarming Vader of his lightsaber. Even though Vader is vastly depowered in this moment though, we still get to see that Momin was surprisingly good at lightsaber combat. Long ago as a Sith apprentice, he managed to kill his own master before his training was completed. And here, even though he's dueling a weakened Vader, he still is beating him. Perhaps there's more to the way Momin uses his tools, his lightsabers, to sculpt his reality, using them as artistic instruments to cut his opponents into works of art. The ancient Sith artist now has Vader backed against the portal rock and is about to deliver the killing blow, when Vader asks one more question. If he lied about what was on the other side, Momin informs him that he had told the truth about what lay beyond. It would have been possible to bring Padme back. This was no lie. But Vader would never be able to pass through, since Vader did not serve the dark side. Vader served only his own power. Momin berates Vader further about how he and his master had become Jedi-obsessed weaklings, and how Momin was saddened and disgusted by the state of the Sith. But then, Vader uses the moment of distraction while Momin was monologuing to call upon one of the large focusing panels with the Force, and to smash Momin against the wall violently. The ancient Sith Lord shouts in pain, saying that it is impossible to kill him, that the dark side loved him, that the dark side wanted him alive, to which Vader replied that if this was true, then he would live. And with that, Vader crushes Momin against the wall with a slab of stone, killing him instantly and entirely. Thus ends the story of Lord Momin, the demented, psychotic artist of the Sith. Our story actually continues though, as Vader tries to open the portal with the locusts, and he actually stepped through the gateway of what Momin described as the literal dark side, and what Vader sees is astounding. But that, my friends, is a story for another holocron. But now, what did you think of this artist of the dark side, Darth Momin? Do you wish that we got more Sith madmen, psychopaths, serial killers? Momin is unique because he never worshipped himself, nor the Sith Order, but literally worshipped the dark side itself. Well friends, as always, we thank you so much for lending your time to the archives and supporting our channel. And as always, may the Force be with you.